Why isn't Paige, probably what people think is, why isn't she as popular as Caitlyn? But do you think Paige should be more popular? And Paige deserves more, and Angel Reese deserves more, and Asia, and Fee, and. Yeah. I think specific to Paige, you might argue her popularity and the people that are fans of her has been underrated, which shocks me.
What happens when a queen of the old guard tries to sabotage the rise of a new phenom? That's the question that exploded across the WNBA when Sue Bird, one of the league's most revered figures, took a public shot at Caitlin Clark's undisputed reign. It wasn't just a casual comment, it was a calculated move that exposed a deep-seated tension within the league, and what it revealed is far more shocking than a simple rivalry.
I can't believe that we're still doing this. Really. There is this seeming desire to be able to wish or will other players into Caitlin Clark's level of popularity. And that is not something you can just make happen. You can't say it and make it the case.
To understand the weight of her words, you have to understand who Sue Bird is. She isn't just another retired player with an opinion. For years, the WNBA has positioned her as its voice, its ambassador, its gatekeeper. When she speaks on a national broadcast, it's not seen as a personal take. It's treated like a message from the establishment itself. Her influence isn't casual. It comes with the weight of someone positioned for years as a spokesperson for the league, making her words feel like an official decree.
And so clearly Paige is not as popular as Caitlin Clark. It's not even close. And yet Sue Bird wants you to think that, no, it really is. Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe the ratings. Don't believe the attendance.
But the betrayal cuts even deeper when you follow the money and the loyalty. Sue Bird is a UConn legend, the cornerstone of a dynasty that has long defined women's basketball. Paige Bueckers is the latest star to come from that same UConn pipeline. Bird's comments suddenly looked less like a plea for fairness and more like a move to protect her alma mater's legacy, an attempt to prop up one of her own at the expense of the outsider who was rewriting all the rules. The UConn ties made people speculate this wasn't about talent at all, but about keeping attention from being monopolized by someone outside their circle.
And I think people forgot how popular and how engaging Paige is and how people are drawn to her. She should be followed and covered in a way that is similar to what we saw with Caitlyn, because that's how popular she is.
Yeah.
It's not to compare them, and it's not to diminish Caitlyn. That's not what it's about.
Right.
It's just about talking about Paige. I think it was undervalued, underrated.
The backlash was instant and brutal. Bird's attempt to force equality in media coverage felt like a slap in the face to the millions of fans who made Clark a phenomenon. It was an insinuation that their passion, their ticket purchases, and their viewership were somehow misguided. To Clark's supporters, it felt like being told their organic excitement wasn't deserved, nor did it count. It was an insult to the very movement that was breathing new life into the league.
That popular, and you're just underrating it. It's really kind of a bizarre take. I mean, if Paige is really that popular and that engaging and people are really drawn to her, we would see with Paige what we see with Caitlin Clark, and we don't.
This wasn't just a comment, it was an attempt at a correction. Bird's message carried an unspoken implication that the natural flow of public attention was wrong and needed to be re-engineered by the experts. It suggests that popularity should be distributed like playing time, a resource that the establishment controls. This mindset completely ignores the reality of modern stardom, where an audience, not a committee, decides who becomes a cultural icon. The attempt to script a narrative ended up throwing even more spotlight on how naturally Caitlyn pulls eyes and ears her way.
Caitlin Clark is just exciting, guys. It's must-see TV. It's must-see TV. You plan your day around a Caitlin Clark basketball game. You wake up in the morning, what time? You go check ESPN, what time is Caitlin Clark playing? Oh, the game is at 7? All right, I'm planning everything around that.
The narrative that Clark's attention is unearned completely collapses when you look at the cold, hard facts. In her first year, WNBA ratings spiked over 20. The Indiana Fever, once at the bottom of the league in attendance, began selling out arenas across the country, averaging over 16,000 fans per game. Her jersey became the highest selling of any athlete in any sport upon release. These aren't manufactured talking points. They are undeniable metrics of a cultural takeover that no other player, including Paige, has come close to matching.
Paige Bueckers is not as popular as Caitlin Clark because she's not Caitlin Clark. It's so hard for the likes of Sue Bird to say that. It hurts them. So there's been a lot of scuttlebutt since Caitlin Clark announced that she's done for the season. There's been a lot of talk about Paige Bueckers. It's time, Paige time. Do you guys not understand how basketball works? We're headed into the postseason. Paige's team has won 9 games all season.
Bird's comments also gave voice to a dark rumor that has been swirling around the league, the unspoken resentment from veteran players. Many in the old guard seem uncomfortable with a rookie instantly becoming the face of the WNBA, receiving more attention and bigger endorsements than they ever did. Bird's words felt like she was speaking for them, validating a quiet jealousy that was boiling just beneath the surface. Her statement gave the resentment a legitimate platform.
It wasn't manufactured. It just happened. It is what it is. I mean, she's been out for 2 months and is still the topic of discussion. Not to mention the ratings and the attendance numbers and teams moving to arenas and the Nike deal and jersey sales and all-star votes and any way these things can be measured.
This speaks to the unwritten rules of the old guard. For decades, there was a sense that players had to pay their dues, working their way up a quiet ladder of respectability. Clark, however, didn't climb the ladder. She blew the entire structure apart. Her immediate explosive fame defied the traditional path. And for some veterans, this felt like a violation of a sacred code. They saw her as skipping the line, not understanding that she was creating an entirely new line for everyone else to join.
Bueckers isn't as good as Caitlin Clark. Paige Bueckers isn't as fun to watch as Caitlin Clark. Her team stinks. Her team plays with zero effort. Paige Bueckers plays with no motor down the stretch because you know it's going to be a close game. You know the Wings are going to lose, and you know Paige Bueckers isn't going to show up every time. There was an opportunity with Caitlin gone for Paige Bueckers to take over. And what has Paige Bueckers done? She had a 44-point game in a loss where she didn't shoot down the stretch.
This sparked a media frenzy that immediately began manufacturing a rivalry between Clark and Bueckers. Suddenly, every highlight and stat line was framed as part of a head-to-head battle, a debate that never organically existed. Outlets created a war on paper, forcing fans to pick a side between two players who were on completely different trajectories, all to capitalize on the drama Bird had started. By creating this false balance, they essentially invented a controversy that would have never existed if left alone.
And the thing is like, yeah, she might end up overtaking Caitlin Clark in points per game. She might end up overtaking Caitlin Clark in points per game. I think she might get 0.1 points per game. I think she needs like 23 or 24 points in the last game. But let's not forget, Caitlin Clark, if she had put up 22 points or something, she was going to average 20 a game last season, but she didn't play. Her and Kelsey Mitchell played 5 minutes. She didn't play in the second half. She didn't play. She played like 15 minutes. But Paige is going to have to play 40 in a meaningless game to overtake Caitlin Clark in points per game on the worst team of basketball. She's guaranteed to be the only ever rookie of the year to be on a last place team.
In this manufactured war, Paige Bueckers became a weapon. Her talent was no longer just her own. It was used as a counterpoint to diminish Clark's accomplishments. Every strong performance by Paige was framed not as a personal achievement, but as proof that Clark was overhyped. She was turned into an unwitting pawn in a narrative designed by those who wanted to control the spotlight, stripping her of her own agency and reducing her career to a comparison point.
End of the month, it is over with. And you want to know what else is over? The debate that Paige is better than Caitlin. That is over too. Because you want to know why? Because Caitlin went to the playoffs her rookie year, and unfortunately, Paige ain't going.
The viral test proves how artificial this rivalry is. When Caitlin Clark hits a logo 3, it's the top story on SportsCenter and trends for days across the globe. When Paige Bueckers dropped an incredible 44 points in a game, it barely made a ripple in the mainstream media. That 44-point explosion should have been plastered everywhere, but it barely trended outside of niche basketball circles. The audience, not the experts, decides what's exciting, and their attention has overwhelmingly crowned Clark.
When Caitlin Clark's when she's playing an unbelievable game, everyone's live tweeting the game. When Paige Bueckers has her 44-point game, you don't hear a single thing about it until after the game. And then the only reason you hear about it is because people then get their viral tweets by saying, oh, Caitlin Clark could never.
This disparity was never more obvious than during the Kelsey Plum shove incident, when Paige physically shoved the WNBA All-Star. The story was buried within 24 hours. Now imagine if Caitlin Clark had done that. It would have fueled a week-long firestorm of debate and outrage across every sports network. Clark takes a minor bump, and it's analyzed for days. Paige throws a clear shove, and it's forgotten. That isn't balance. It's proof of a massive gap in public interest.
She is a global brand. And now I say with the caveat of, look, this is the WNBA, and we all know what that means. So there aren't guarantees for Caitlin Clark's height of popularity. We don't know how the CBA is going to shake out. We don't know how the treatment of Caitlin Clark in the league is going to shake out with the injuries and all of that. But understanding that, setting that aside for a moment, Caitlin Clark could very well be a global brand in the way Michael Jordan was for Nike and his brand, and being $1 billion.
The most telling difference is their impact on their teams. Caitlin Clark took the long-relevant Indiana Fever and single-handedly made them a playoff contender and the hottest ticket in sports. Paige Bueckers, despite her impressive individual stats, hasn't been able to lift her Dallas Wings out of the league's basement. One is a franchise savior who changed the team's entire trajectory. The other is a talented player on a losing team whose accomplishments feel isolated.
What does Paige Bueckers do? Paige Bueckers, they're down 9 points. She goes to the basket. She makes a layup, and then she rams over Kelsey Plum. Like, that's basically what she did. She scores, complains to the referee, turns around and rams over an opposing team's player, and just keeps running back on defense.
Beyond her on-court performance, Clark is an entire economic engine for the WNBA. Her presence is the direct reason the league finally invested in charter flights for all teams. Her games command primetime television slots and drive up advertising revenue. She is a one-woman stimulus package, bringing unprecedented financial opportunities to players, teams, and the league as a whole. To criticize her spotlight is to criticize the very source of the league's newfound financial health.
Lane, and there's the bump into the back of Plum.
So as you guys can see from this clip here, Paige gave her a push of a lifetime. Now, this is so unlike Paige. I mean, Paige has gotten out of character. Could it be that the stress of this league is starting to get to Paige? The defensive guarding, the whole systematic system that has been applied to her these last couple weeks has definitely been playing a factor. She's been dealing with, unreleased illnesses and shit. And could this be that she has reached a breaking point? I mean, Paige is just sick of it.
Beyond the stats, Clark possesses an it factor that can't be taught or given to someone else. It's the swagger, the fiery on-court personality, and the raw charisma that makes fans feel connected to her. People don't just watch her play, they rally around her aura. Whether it's her pre-game fits or her quips at refs, she's relatable while being unmistakably a star. It's a magnetic pull that no amount of media promotion for another player can replicate.
We're not having this conversation if the referees just blew their whistle. Because the referees, realistically, should always blow their whistle in this scenario. These fouls should be called. And the referees are horrendous. And look, we all know that this would have caused think pieces, and it would have had petitions to get Caitlin kicked out of the league and sent to Alcatraz with the alligators. Like, we know that. We all know that would happen. And if this was Angel Reese, she might have gotten chucked from a game.
And ironically, Clark's massive spotlight has been a gift to her teammates. Players like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell are now household names, not because of a league marketing campaign, but because they share the court with a generational star. Clark's gravity is so strong that it pulls everyone in her orbit up with her, benefiting the entire franchise and giving her teammates national platforms they never would have had otherwise.
All of it, the behind the back passes, everything. It's a show. She's just way more exciting than Paige. That's why Paige is not as popular. Her game is kind of boring. I love her as a player. She's great. I say the same thing about Juju. It's a lot of free throws. It's a lot of elbow pull-ups. That's cool. Good hoop. Love it. It's not going to captivate an audience. People not buying tickets for it.
Clark's influence isn't just limited to the United States. She has become a global phenomenon. Her highlights are watched by millions in Europe, Asia, and around the world, bringing an international audience to a league that has historically struggled for global recognition. She's not just the face of the WNBA, she's becoming one of the most recognizable faces in all of sports, period. To try and contain that is like trying to hold back the tide.
Paige Bueckers isn't as good as Caitlin Clark. Paige Bueckers isn't as fun to watch as Caitlin Clark. Her team stinks. Her team plays with zero effort. Paige Bueckers plays with no motor down the stretch because you know it's going to be a close game. You know know that Wings are going to lose, and you know Paige Bueckers isn't going to show up every time. There was an opportunity with Caitlin gone for Paige Bueckers to take over. And what has Paige Bueckers done? She had a 44-point game in a loss where she didn't shoot down a stretch.
Ultimately, media attention isn't a trophy that can be handed out to whoever the establishment deems deserving. It is earned in the court of public opinion, and the audience has spoken with their wallets and their remote controls. They have chosen Caitlin Clark, and no legend, no matter how respected, can reverse that verdict. When she posts a simple injury update and racks up over 100,000 likes in an hour, it demonstrates a reach that can't be manufactured.
Entertainment. If you can't entertain the people, then you can't keep them seating and you can't keep them spending. Caitlin Clark entertains the people. And that is why Paige Bueckers is not nearly as popular as Caitlin Clark. It don't have nothing to do with sexual orientation. It don't have nothing to do with her race. It don't have nothing to do with religious beliefs. It has nothing to do with if you're Democratic, Republican, none of that.
In the end, Bird's comments felt like a stunning betrayal of the WNBA's own future. Why would a league ambassador try to dim the light of the one player bringing in more money, fans, and relevance than anyone has in a generation? It was a move that looked less like supporting another player and more like trying to cap the growth of a star who was becoming bigger than the league itself, a golden goose they seemed determined to undermine. While the old guard and their chosen mouthpieces can continue to talk, Caitlin Clark is busy making history. She doesn't need a legend's approval or a media-created rivalry to validate her position. The sellout crowds, the shattered records, and a revitalized franchise speak for themselves. True stars don't need crowning or adjustments from media campaigns. The fans have already spoken, and the true power in the WNBA is no longer decided in boardrooms or by commentators. It's decided on the court, and right now, the court belongs to Caitlin Clark.